doctor's appointment this morning, so he's not being able to join us this morning on the call. But it is Lynn Gardner. And, guys, this is probably one of my, well, it is my favorite call of the month, each and every month. Lynn brings us so much heartfelt life experience knowledge. Guys, well, without any further ado, good morning, Miss Lynn. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Wade. How you doing?
Excellent.
I tell you, I'm so glad to hear it. Yeah, good morning to all you difference makers. And Virginia is icy. I wish you could see it, if you like that kind of thing. But every little twig on every tree's got ice hanging off it. It's beautiful. And it's wonderful to be with you guys all again this month on this side of the call. It's such an honor. And boy, the time flies, doesn't it? Because I'm only with you guys once a month, whole lot of life happens in between calls, as you can imagine, right? It's pretty amazing when you think about it. And it sure makes it easy for me to bring forth a message because plenty of things have inspired me since the last time we shared this time. For instance, since we were last together, I'm planting seeds inside this time of year, right? Some of them will be microgreens that'll stay inside and I'll munch down on all year long. And some of those seeds that I'll be planting outside in the spring. Since we were last together, I launched another book that was totally God-inspired, by the way. It's called 12 Steps for Climbing Out of the Dark Place, and it addresses depression, how you can, kind of attack that depression. I've been there, done that, so I think God made me put it out there, and it's great to offer that inspiration. By the way, I'm getting lots of questions and comments. People are saying, are you out of the business? Well, clearly I'm not out of the business, right? But the writing is twofold for me. First part is blessing. So the first book was to bless. This last one is to bless. The other part is branding. So toilets, taps, and trash was my way of branding, which is a very important factor in business. Since we were last together, I've taken in a foster dog. I'm only praying she behaves this morning, right? Only God could bring a foster dog to the farm with the name Wasabi. I mean, what are the odds you get a dog with a Japanese name, or at least that I would, right? Of course, there are always projects to be done at the farm, as you can imagine, right? And anything that I can do, I do for myself. I always have. If something I can do, I take care of it. I'm not afraid to try most things, as you've heard me say before. And again, my barometer is, if I mess with it, is it possible that I can make things worse? If it is, I don't do it. But if that's not possible, then I'm good to go. I was recently working on a small project inside, and it, was not a difficult project, so to speak, and it was a little cumbersome. It wasn't going to take a whole lot of time, right? But every attempt I made, I flopped and floundered, and I'd get so frustrated, I just set it aside. It shouldn't have taken me much time at all, but I wasn't succeeding in the task, right? Finally, after watching one more tutorial online, I made a minor change, just a small tweak to what I was already doing, and voila, success. It was the process of the trying and flopping and failing that led to one small tweak that led to success, and that inspired the message for you today entitled Small Tweaks, Big Difference. When you think about life, so often it's just one small tweak that makes that biggest difference. It's true for relationships. It's true in raising our kids. It's true in our faith. And it's most assuredly true in our business. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for any of those areas of life. But we find ourselves working against the flow sometimes, kind of like this is the way we do things or this is just the way I am, without ever considering a small tweak that could lead to the biggest difference in any of those areas. We're victims of habit and we're hostage to history unless we learn to tweak. Psychology Today, I had a great article out there several months ago, and it was interviewing counselors, professional relationship fixers, right? And they said that not just some relationships, but most relationships fail over the smallest of things. Small things that needed just a small tweak that would lead to amazing results. We see it in friendships. When a train wreck happens in a friendship, it's rarely insurmountable, right? It's usually over something ridiculous and just one small tweak in the right direction, and there could be healing. But we refuse to apply those small tweaks. Why do we do that? We see it in our business every single day. As Daniel D. McCauley says, there are dozens of ways to do this business. It's not a one-size-fits-all. If you're serious about recruiting and you're serious about finding people to build, you better remember that part. The constant that we rely on and we're happy, so grateful to have, is the magic, our products, our amazing leaders, and a to-die-for comp plan. Those are unwavering and constant. And by the way, that's very rare. But we're in the people business. We have a product that's truly good for everybody, everywhere, individual, company, whatever. Of course, there isn't a one-size-fits-all. And it often requires a small tweak to succeed as individuals. And yet, so many people are led into or coached into doing things the way the leader has done things, and it might require a small tweak to work for that person. It doesn't matter how good that coaching is. If you're doing things the way that works against the flow of your natural gifts and talents or your circumstances, your individuality, you simply won't reach your full potential. And you'll likely do what I did with that small project. Get frustrated and keep walking away. Hopefully they'll come back, right? But just like that project, it wasn't that I couldn't complete it. It wasn't that it wasn't possible for me to succeed. It was that I needed to make a small tweak to my efforts for the bigger difference. No amount of leadership coaching will propel you if you're going in the wrong direction for you. It might require one small tweak. I love every single word of the Bible, as you guys can imagine, right? But just like most of you, I have my favorite parts. I love all the parables. That shouldn't come as a surprise. Jesus taught in stories with parables. I love that. Did you know that 60% of those parables are about business and money? Most people miss that part, but that's what he's addressing, right? One of my favorites is found in the Gospel of John. I'm sure you already know the story, and forgive me as I use this as a reminder again today. But Jesus had been crucified, and it was during his time of transfiguration. And some of the disciples were out fishing. In fact, they'd been out there fishing, all night long, and they hadn't caught a stinking fish. I can only imagine how tired and disappointed they were. This was their livelihood. In case you missed this, the disciples did not just quit living life or making money. This was their livelihood. Jesus had gone. This is their livelihood. And not catching fish was a very big deal. Not catching fish meant not producing income. And you and I know what that feels like, right? How many times have you gone out to catch and you came home empty-handed? Jesus was on the shore. Now, he knew them, of course, but they didn't recognize him. He's transfigured. They don't recognize him. But he saw them heading in. Now, that leads us to believe that, the boat was not in deep water at this point, and it was probably pretty shallow. It says it was about 100 yards offshore. And he asked these guys a simple question. Remember, he looks like a stranger to them. And he says, did you catch any fish? So in other words, he said, have you been successful in your efforts? Jesus met them in the workplace. They weren't fishing for fun. So he met them in the workplace and said, how you been doing here? Are you successful? And they responded, and, no, we didn't catch anything. And he suggested one small tweak. Cast your net on the other side of the boat. Just one small tweak. This was not a ship, guys. This was a fishing boat. I don't know how big it was, but it wasn't big, and so what I'm getting at is when to cast from one side to the other side was not a big deal. It wasn't a huge distance. It's hard to believe, since they didn't recognize him at the time, that they even considered listening to this guy. I mean, they're tired. They've been fishing all night. And it probably seemed like a ridiculous suggestion, right? After that long night and no success, about 100 yards offshore. Maybe they were desperate enough, that they actually took his advice or thought, well, what do we have to lose? Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever gotten to the place where you were desperate to succeed? Well, I hope you have, because that's when we start making those small tweaks. Now, who knows why they actually did it, but they cast their net on the other side of the boat, one small tweak, and they saw tremendous success in their workplace that day. Under normal circumstances, that catch would have broken their nets, no doubt. They weren't used to having that kind of result, right? But they gathered their bounty, they went home to shore, and they all had breakfast together. But one piece of this story that drives home the message of success is that we're told precisely how many fish they caught. This is a documented history, right? It's not like they said, well, they caught a whole bunch of fish, or they saw success. No, we're told exactly, precisely, they caught 153 fish. I like to believe that exact number is shared so that we can connect the dots to success by making that one small tweak. Now, as I work with people to help them with their gifts and talents, so that we can make some small tweaks that lead them to a bigger success in what they're doing, right? It's fascinating to see the transformation. One little thing, it could be anything, words you say, action you take, whatever. It could be one little small thing, and as soon as they get that small tweak going, man, they go to bigger success. But look at it this way. If you're in a game of baseball, for instance, right, and you're put on the pitcher's mound, not necessarily because you have any talent there, but because you have a strong arm, but you're intended to play shortstop. You would be an amazing shortstop player. No amount of leadership or coaching in the world is going to make you be a good pitcher. You were meant to play shortstop. And if you'd ever made your way there, you could have seen that if you made just that one small tweak in the game, it would have made a huge difference in your success. No doubt we are in a duplicatable business, for the most part, and that's a very good thing. But we aren't all cut from the same mold. We all have unique gifts. We have unique talents. We all bring individuality to the table, and sometimes it requires that we make a few small tweaks to make the process work. You can't get around the fact that we're in the people business, guys. You're not in the water business. You're not in the ionizer sales business. You're not in what you call it, but you're always going to be in the people business. So if you don't like people, you're in the wrong place. We're in the people business, right? We're in the business of finding them, loving them, growing them, working with them. We're in the people business. But you can find your niche within this duplicatable business and tweak your efforts towards success in a way that works for you. We're not all a cookie cutter. The important thing is that we reach people, as many people as we can possibly reach, that we tell them what we have, we share it with them, that we're willing to build relationships, but how we do it is not cast in stone. I would imagine there's some people out there right this very minute, they're probably celebrating with their coffee, right, saying, wow, I'm off the hook, that they're thinking that, they have a sense of relief, because they're not seeing success, and they maybe are looking for excuse, they're comfortable, right, so they want to hear something that makes it easy. But you know what? There's no way around being uncomfortable when it comes to success. It's not true in relationships. Again, relationships will hit a little ripple and two people are saying, but I'm this way, but I'm that way. And if they would just tweak something, they would be able to see success in that relationship. It's certainly not true with your children. I don't care if you have 100 children of your own. Every single one of them is different. They're all unique. They're each individual. They have their own gifts and talents. You cannot parent them all the same way. I remember now I would get teased with my kids all along that one of my sons was my favorite. And we were watching home movies here over Christmas. I recorded their, baby movies. And we were watching it and they saw his character. I would always say, no, he's just so much more gentle. He needed a much more gentle approach, sensitive, gentle person, and they could see it in the videos. They're not cookie cutters. If you're trying to raise your kids in a box and cookie cutters, you got a train wreck coming, and you certainly can't see it in your faith. It's not comfortable to share our faith, and it certainly isn't comfortable to be rejected when we do, but that's no excuse not to do it. I sure hope not. I hope you don't use that because you're afraid of what somebody will say or afraid they'll reject your Lord, right? But if we're sharing over and over and we never see results in that area, it probably means we need to make a small tweak to make a bigger difference. And it's certainly not true in this business. You've got to get uncomfortable. But it doesn't mean that you have to, everything is cast in stone and there's only one way to get there. There is no easy way to get there. That much we know for sure. We've got to work hard. We're in business, right? You'll still be working hard when you make those minor tweaks, but when you make a minor tweak, that you're relying on your own efforts, your own talent, your individuality, your gifts, right? You'll still be working hard, but you know what's going to happen? You're going to come home with a full net too when you start working the way that works for you. I don't have all the answers in life, but this much I am absolutely sure of. If you're out there fishing, if you're giving it all you got to give, all night, just like the disciples were, and you're coming home empty-handed, it's time to tweak to be successful. Einstein said that the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So if you're going out there night after night, fishing and fishing and fishing and coming home empty-handed, you've got to change something. Now, if you're not putting in the effort, and you're coming home empty-handed, then you're getting back what you put in, right? Don't whine when your net's empty if you aren't bothering to get out there. But so often we see people with so much potential. It hurts me when I see people with so much potential and I see, ooh, they just got to make one simple change, right? One simple thing that would work for them. They'll, if not, they'll likely give up and they'll go on to something else when all the while all they needed to do was make a small tweak to find their bigger difference. How do you help people, adjust with their individuality? How do you help them, through their own circumstances? Well, first of all, we have to know who they are, know where they're coming from. What is their background? What do they like to do? What do they like most about what we have, right? Before you tell them, go open up your home 24/7, give away water months on end, just let people come and go, find out about them. What are their gifts and talents and their background and their circumstances? I can tell you that I know I turned off some very influential people in my early days, when I was in that just tell me what I need to do phase, right? I lost business builders. I knew these people for years, and I knew what they could, and they loved the whole idea, right? Because there wasn't a snowball's chance that they were going to do what I was doing. There wasn't a snowball's chance that they'd open up their home 24/7 and play camel like I was in the early days, right? Now I can say that I don't blame them. But at the time I was doing what my leaders coached me to do, right? But they could have soared like eagles if I had taken each one individually with one small tweak that fit their individuality, their circumstances, and their gifts. Instead, I lost them by trying to force them in to my way of doing the business. I'll give you a simple idea of what some small tweaks look like and how important it is to consider each person and where they're coming from. Guys, we're not just mass recruiting here. We're dealing with individuals, right? In my early days, a few people came into the business that I had known. They're locals. They needed the business. They needed hope, and they clung to it. They saw it, and they clung to it. They're single women, basically my age. They had lost their jobs and subsequently lost their homes. And, you may not know this. This is a good recruiting tip for you, by the way, and that is that in real estate, when the boom happened, single women bought the most properties, and single women lost the most. I think that's in part due because sometimes they don't make as much money as men, and we went through this phase where we said it doesn't matter what you make, how you make, or where you make it, everybody gets a loan, and they were finally able to get a home on their own, and they lost big time. So these people needed to rebuild their lives. And they loved the products again. They loved the culture. They just loved everything, right? They bit the bullet. They invested, and they showed up at every single meeting. Anytime the doors were open, they were there. But there was a problem. You see, these women were one was living with a friend, and two others were living with family members until they could get back on their feet. And the friend and family members refused to let them give away water. They were paying the water bill after all, so I can understand their position. But we had, upline team members at the time that would always say, all you have to do this business is give away the water. The water does the heavy lifting. Well, come on, guys, that's not true. You still got to work for it. We've got a great product. People see great results, but that water ain't selling itself. You've got to do your part, right? So all these women were told was you've got to give away water, and they were living in circumstances where they couldn't give away water. These women were in a real mess. They invested, but they couldn't do the one thing that the leaders were telling them to do, and me, by the way, to be successful, right? It's like saying, well, get out there and, go into the pitcher's mound, start pitching. They couldn't, right? They got discouraged, and they gave up. Well, at least two of them did. The third one I convinced to make one small tweak. I tried with all three of them, but not everybody's open to making a change, and they're not open if they're told this is the only way to do it, right? But the third one I convinced to make this small tweak. I told her, bring your prospects to me, and I'll do a very brief demonstration, which, you should always do, by the way, before you share water. And mine would be like 10, 15 minutes. And then I'll give them water and I'll refill them. I shared and I set boundaries, of course, on that. And I closed almost every single person she sent here. We made one small tweak to work within her lifestyle, right? The first two women refused to make that one small tweak. And they refused to allow me to be the one to help them build their business. Why? I don't know. Ego, pride, controlling nature, or they just grabbed on to what somebody higher up than me said, and those people said, you got to share water 24/7, right? And there are plenty of you out there that are in the same boat. Maybe pride gets in the way of that one small tweak that would lead you to the biggest changes, the biggest difference, the biggest success. But, if those fishermen had been prideful instead of desperate for success, right? Whatever, we'll do it. We're tired. We want some fish. If they had been prideful instead and they ignored what the quote-unquote stranger on the shore who told them to cast their net on the other side, they never would have been successful either. Instead of considering a small tweak, we have the tendency to try to make everybody fit into our box. It's equivalent to saying, again, if you're going to play with us and get on the pitcher's mound, start pitching. If you can't pitch, you're out, right? But not everybody's supposed to pitch, and not everybody has the potential to pitch. We could make a few small tweaks, move them over just a few feet, just like those fishermen did with the net that day. Just move them over a little bit, put them in the shortstop position in the same game with the same rules, with the same rewards, and watch them shine. If not, you know what happens when we refuse to help others make that one small tweak for a bigger difference? They sit on the bench. We see how we attempt to force people into our ways also when we have things like demos. People, it's good to get people, right? We need to get people to demonstrations. Getting that them is imperative to our business. But we have a tendency to say, well, if you're interested, you got to show up Monday night, 7 o'clock. We'll have you out of there by midnight. And when you can't or won't make allowances for that specific day, that rigid schedule, we say they aren't interested, and we don't bother to make one small tweak in a way that we're trying to introduce them that might lead to filling up that net, right? They're not necessarily going to fit in that box you have, no matter how great it is. Just like Jesus did so long ago, we have to consider every individual. We're in the people business. Everybody's an individual. We have to consider their circumstances, their individuality, their gifts, their talents, what works for someone else, and then tell them to cast their net just a few feet away, right? One small tweak can make the biggest difference in life. But we're so stuck so often, and this is the way we do it, that we've forgotten individuality, unique gifts and talents, background, circumstance, and everything else along the way. Those disciples went out all night long, and they were coming home empty-handed. Failed attempts, right, at success, until they took the advice of a leader, and they agreed. They didn't fight it, they didn't question it, they didn't argue it, they didn't say we don't do it that way. They just cast their net a few feet away. Are you willing to make a few small tweaks to be successful? Are you willing to help others make a few small tweaks to be successful? Or are you just going to say, get out there on the field and start pitching? It doesn't work that way in life, guys. People don't work that way. We're not in a cookie-cutter mode. And even though we have a duplicatable business for the most part, we still don't have everything cast in stone. Do it this way or get out of the game. Will you continue to beat your head against the wall? If you're going out there all night long, coming home empty-handed with no fish, come on, you got to evaluate what you're doing. If you're really putting in the effort, you're really getting out there and doing the things you claim you're doing, and you're coming home with no fish, there's something wrong. You just need a minor tweak. It could be what you're saying, how you're saying it, what you share with them. It could be that you need to shut up. We don't know, right? But one small tweak. If you're putting in the effort without success, that's all you need to do, and the choice is yours. We have the constants that we need. We have what everybody, boy, the world needs what we have, right? The constants that we have with the magic, again, with the leadership, with these amazing products, and with an unbeatable comp plan. But will we always be in the people business? We'll always be up against individuals with individual circumstances, with unique gifts and talents, and we need to treat them like that, right? So that's the way we'll always be. And they won't soar, we won't soar, until we learn to make a few small tweaks along the way, just like those fishermen did so long ago. Life is a lot simpler than we like to make it out to be sometimes, guys, and we do let it, rigid nature or a schedule. This is our demo night. That's it. This is the way we do it. We tend to take that too seriously sometimes. Again, as Daniel D. McCauley says, there are dozens of ways to do this business, and sometimes you'll be dealing with people, or maybe you are one, that needs to just tweak a few things. But you know what it takes to get there? I think it takes what I assume the fishermen had. I think they were kind of worn out. We fished all stinking night long, and we didn't come home with a fish. And I think they were desperate to succeed. So they were willing to listen to something that probably in the human nature seemed ridiculous. Just cast your net on the other side of that small boat. Human nature would be to argue. But I think they were desperate, and they listened, and they made that one small tweak that led to success. And you know what? I hope you'll be willing to do the same thing for yourself and for everybody you meet for the business. And that's it for me, Wade.
Well, Lynn, I love so much. You know what's really amazing is those fishermen, right? They could have just said, don't need to listen to this guy. The other thing is Jesus could have filled their nets on the other side of the boat.
Yes,
but
exactly.
What he was looking for was, will they listen and do? And so, guys, difference makers, will you listen and do exactly the things that, like Lynn is talking about? Will you make one small tweak? Will you take just a moment? Will you take just a day? Will you take just a little amount of time, analyze what you're doing, and make that small tweak and change everything about your business? I love this, Lynn, and I appreciate you so much. What a great message this morning. All right, difference makers, if you have a comment or a question for Lynn, I want you to hit *2, raise your hand. Man, Lynn, it just doesn't get any better, easier, simpler. Guys, right back to the word, and I love that, Lynn. Thank you so much, honey.
Oh, well, I love your feedback there. Thank you so much. You're always encouraging me. I want to run with something that you were saying, though, that about what the guys did. You know, if sometimes, and we have a lot of people of faith on this call, and sometimes we just want to say, well, I've been praying God would do this, I'm praying God would do that, I was praying he'd show me success. But you know what? If you look throughout the Bible, this is a prime example. You said he could have filled the nets. He could have filled those nets without saying a word and said, hey, I did it, right? He will always expect you to take action. You know, when he was out there with Peter and said, oh, we got to pay the taxes, go catch a fish, there's a gold coin in its mouth. But he could have had the fish jump onto the shore and pull the coin out, but he made him fish. When he told Moses, use your staff and open this, you are always required to do your part. And so even as Christians, we can't cop out and say, well, I've been praying. You know, if he wants me to have it, he's going to bring, no, he's going to expect you to get out there and do your part, just like the fishermen did.
Oh, man, that is so good. That is so good. All right, we've got a couple hands up. You ready for a couple questions here?
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, let's go to our buddy Mike in South Carolina. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Wade. Good morning, Miss Lynn.
Good morning.
Just incredible as always. And you know, the biggest thing to me that I take away from this too is, you know, we have a tendency to forget that this is a volunteer army. You know, you can't look at people and say, you need to do this, and if you're not willing to do this, then I'm moving on to the next guy. Because everybody, you know, like you said, everybody's life is different, and every circumstance is different. And what may work with them today when you're talking to them isn't going to work with them tomorrow, because life is life and it gets in the way. And so I just thank you for who you are and for everything that you bring. It's just incredible, the love and the care and everything that you bring to each and every one of these calls. So thank you so very, very much.
Well, thank you. Again, you encourage me with your words. I'm just doing my Father's business, right? So I thank you for that, and it's always it's such an honor to share. So thank you for that, Michael. Have a great day.
You too. Have a very blessed day.
Amen. Thank you, Mike. All right, let's go to Juanita. Good morning, Juanita.
Wow. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Wade. Incredible, as Michael said. Thank you so much. I love the parables as well in the Word of God, and I did not realize that 60% of them had to do with business or finances. So I would definitely look at them with a different eye. But thank you so much, Lynn. You know, we do need to consider, you know, each individual. I was speaking, and I'm sure he won't be upset, but with Michael before this call, and he was telling me about his business, and we were praying, and we just don't pray every morning about our business or in Adric. We take action, and Michael's such a wonderful example. He's working with a group of folks within his little bitty community of 1,100 people where he lives, and he is catering to that population, and he's got a group that he's worked with for a year now, and he was teaching me about planting seeds and how we plant those seeds, and it's with the museum, and he's a volunteer there that raises money in the local community. Michael's very active in his church and community. So now he's got an audience of caterers from the museum. They make their dinner, and last year he took the water and cleaned the fruits and veggies and impressed the owners of the catering business. So now he's got his machine, and they're asking him if they could piggyback in together with one another to come to his water demos. So I just really think he's a great rising star, as well as the application. He's tweaking it. We are a home-based business, yes. I did spend 24/7, as you did in the beginning, as we were instructed. And God honors that because we respected our leadership and did what they were doing, and that's how God got us to where we are. So, Miss Lynn, thank you. I'm praying for those other two mamas to get in a living situation. I've been there. I'm there. But it's not a reason to walk away. I mean, the water is just a part of my body, and if anyone knows me, they're going to have to respect that as well. So thank you again, sister.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. You blessed me so much, and thank you for sharing. And you're right, making those tweaks. I've dealt with people, for instance, that didn't have a car, and they didn't really have a place that they thought was suitable to bring people to their homes to get water. So here they are. You can't come to me and I can't come to you kind of thing. But that's no excuse, because there's a way to tweak it to make it work. Sometimes I get in trouble because I believe in giving away water, guys. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not being negative about that necessarily, but I do come out of real estate. And in real estate, we don't say just move in for a couple months, see how you like it. I've never sold cars, but I don't think they say just take it home with you for a few weeks or a few months or whatever. Be sure you want to buy it. We don't do that. So sometimes we need to tweak our own mindset. There is a way to do this if you don't have a car and you don't have a home people can come to or whatever else. There's still a way to do it. But you have to be willing to make those small tweaks to be obedient to it. And you can't just sit back and say, well, God wants this business to where people are it's just going to happen. Well, he blesses us. I mean, I get surprise sales and stuff like that. He does make it happen. But unless you do your part, he's not going to do that. If those fishermen said no, thank you, he wouldn't have filled up the nets. So we have to do our part. And it's not easy. It is a business. But, when you do things, your work is something that you love, your passion, your work inside your calling, it's pleasurable business. It's a lot of work that you love. Doesn't feel like work.
That's so good. Like that young man come bouncing out of the gas station in Jim Rohn's deal.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to another one of my new friends, Miss Diane down in Texas. Good morning, Diane.
Hi, can you hear me, Wade?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. My hand is broken there. Listen, Lynn, I wanted to say thank you so much. Wade, thank you for always doing such a great calls, and Sam Michaels as well. And Lynn, meeting you has really meant the world to me because I do walk with Christ, and it's so important for me to do what he wants me to do, and I'm in a huge learning curve of fighting the old and bringing in the new. So when you relate God's word to our work, I just want to say thank you so much, and I so look forward to doing your class with you. And that's all.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. I'm so excited for you because you've got the passion, that newness, and one of the things I really love about you is you're teachable. When I first came in, I wasn't teachable. I came in with my ego. There's a better way to slice this bread. I came in knowing I had never been in this industry. I have never sold a product, but I came in knowing everything, right? And so I wasn't teachable. And then I finally said, oh man, I want this to work. It's not working. I'll be teachable. And then my teachable was get on the pitcher's mound, start pitching, right? So it's great that you're so excited and teachable. Do not just keep surrounding yourself with people making it happen. Keep leaning on your faith, but you'll find your niche. And when you do, you're going to soar because I know you'll be willing to shift that net to the other side of the boat whenever you need to. So I'm happy for you, and I'm honored.
No mistake. Thank you, Lynn, so much. And make no mistake, I've got some ego going on. Trust me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, don't we all? No, I'm not doing that, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Lynn, so much. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Wade.
Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you, honey.
That was wonderful. All right, let's stay in Texas a minute. Let's go to Sandra. Good morning, Miss Sandra.
Well, good morning. Thank y'all for such an excellent and handy call. It's not just talk. It can work. But I'd like to know the name of the book again and how to purchase it, please.
Good morning. I'm not sure. Which one are you talking about? About what?
The last one you said you wrote when you
first
the
12 steps. Yeah, 12 steps out of the dark place. You can go on Amazon and just search for my name. There'll be several Lynn Gardners, obviously, but my name with 12 steps for climbing out of the dark place. That's the name of it.
Okay. How many pages is it?
Oh, it's short. It's a short read. Yeah, it's a short read, and I think that's important for people needing to read it. I can't be too long. It's about the paperback's about 60 pages, I think, but it does bring in people of faith, obviously, who went through the dark place and how they got out, and it brings up leaders that have been great accomplishment. Abraham Lincoln's one of them, severe depression, but he was able to work through it. But anyway, that's where you find it. You can find it there on Amazon, paperback or digital, whatever works for you. But if I could ask you to just hold off, because I'm going to be reducing that down. I somehow put that one up at $3.99 for a digital version. I'm going to take it to 99 cents like I did for Walking on Water and put it on the free Kindle. So that needs to happen. That's something that I want to be able to bless people with. It's not about money. So just hold off a couple hours before you go there and let me reduce that price for you, okay?
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sandra. So just wait a couple hours, guys, and she'll have that worked out. That is excellent. Let's go to my buddy Daryl in Arizona. Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning. So the little tweaking that I've done, I really appreciated this, Lynn. That this has been right. Wondering all along here, how can I change things? I went for many months with very few sales and going to the farmers markets and everything, and wondering what is going on, why I can't get anywhere, and why I'm not finding those people, and then I'm doing this training with Carl, and in our lessons there, it taught us that we should go out with intentions, and when we go out, like when I leave to go to the market or whatever, I set an intention that today I want to find 2 business builders. And that was one little change that I made, and the first day I tried that evening I found 2 business builders. I went to a restaurant and found 2 of them. Then I continued to thinking about this, and then I realized that I needed to ask for guidance, because this is really something more than I can answer. I can't find those people either without a little help. And so I asked the Lord to show those people to me, and it just came. I was kept with the question. I always kept the question out, Lord, where do I find these? And it just came back to you. You're going to find them just here and there and everywhere. They're going to be a lot of different places. And so that impressed me. Saturday I went on a hike up the mountains, and I normally am watching and are thinking, who's going to be which hiker might I find? And earlier I'd actually just found one that from Nova Scotia that wants to get a machine now. But I was going, and I realized I had these brochures from Bill Powers, and on the front it says, "Danger, are you drinking toxic water?" And so I put that in my pocket, and as I met people, it was amazing how many doors opened up, or how many people saw that. One man, just even walking by, wanted to know, well, what kind of water are you drinking? And so I could tell him, well, I'm drinking living water. And, it made him think, wait a minute, Anyway, that little thing there I did, I tweaked that. I started carrying this little brochure. It's like not everybody has a front pocket, but that that has just throughout the day there was several times that brought me to people wanted to know all about it, and have some had to send them information, give them information, and some of them I even sent it to, and I'm going to be trying to follow up with them, or they want me to follow up with them. So I just thought I'd share those couple of little tips there.
Excellent.
Well, I think
Daryl.
that's awesome.
Yeah, excellent, Daryl.
That's awesome. I do want to say that, that's one reason why, as a person of faith, I try to connect the dots. I try to give you a message that's not just my faith, but it's blended into life and into business, right? But, when we're sharing our faith, we can't share our faith from a recliner. We got to get out there, right? And when we share our faith, we got to go to the most likely places people need to hear our faith, just like Jesus did. That's what we do. And so when you look at it in business, it's the same thing. You got to get out of the recliner. You got to, pray over it. If you're a believer, you pray over your efforts, and God will point those people up. But you got to keep moving and go where the people are. And so you're doing a fabulous job. It sounds like that small tweak and certainly putting your faith into it. But, God always expects us to put in some effort. Can't sit there in the recliner and say, I didn't get any checks this month. It doesn't work that way. Thank you for sharing. You encouraged me today.
Excellent. Awesome. All right, let's go to, we got about 5 more hands up, so guys, if you can get to your question, that'd be great. Doc and Janice. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, difference makers. This was a very awesome call. I want to say first, giving all praises and honor to God, who's the head of my life. As a fisher of men at 78 years old and remaking myself and retiring, what your message this morning was so on point. It pointed out over what happened just recently at one of our meetings when I spoke to a young man who I met for the first time, and the Spirit meets the Spirit. This young man has an opportunity for his to become the prince of his family, for his wife and his children through this business that we're doing. We all have a different boat we get in, so that means we're fishing at all times. And so one of the things that I want to make certain that I always do is give the water away. And I give the water away because it is the first thing that causes the change in mankind to cleanse God's
Absolutely.
temple. So that once their temple is cleansed and they see a change in a reaction from just drinking our awesome and wonderful water, the gift of God, then those people are able to say, well, on the checklist, I checked this off, and I don't have it anymore. So that means now that the fish that I've caught from this giving the water away will enhance and increase the opportunity for those people to take advantage of knowing they need to cleanse their bodies and have their bodies change and work the way God intended them to do. And I thank you for your message this morning. Lynn, it was right on time for me and my wife, Janice Marie Stevens Holliday, who is an evangelist, and we do believe very deeply in Jesus. Thank you so much.
Well, that's obvious, my friend. Thank you for sharing, and I think you bring up a wonderful point, because sometimes people will say, how I blend my faith and business all into one. Well, that's first of all who I am. But honestly, to be part of a compassion-based mission, to have something that every human life needs, we all need water, it really is a platform for me to share my faith. So as I meet with people, I just try to get to know them. You can tell pretty quick what do I have that you need? You need something, right? And so it's a great way to extend compassion. I absolutely do that myself, try to extend it with the water. And so God bless you. I just love that. How old did you say you are?
Oh, I took him away. I'm sorry. He was 78.
Hey, I'm telling you what, go for it. I'm proud of you're my inspiration. Keep drinking, keep going, and thank you so much for your comments today.
Thank you.
Open up your mic again. Thanks, Doc. All right, let's go to Daryl. Hey, Daryl.
Good morning, Wade, Lynn, Sam, all you difference makers. I appreciate that this morning, Lynn. That was great. The first thing I thought about when you said tweaking, it was the gyroscope. It was a tool used, which many people I'm sure already know, a tool that was used to keep the first spaceship on track to make it to the moon.
Wow.
And and then I wanted to comment on that other thing too about the. I don't think it says which side of the boat that he told the fishermen to lower their nets, but I always think of most everything in the Bible as typology. It would have been on the right side.
Yes.
Yes,
that's what the commentators say. Yeah.
Yeah, so everything else seems to be on the right side. But
everything
thank you so much
you know.
Yeah, that's right. But I always enjoy hearing your messages, and thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you people on here too.
Oh, thank you for encouraging me. You know, you made me think about the left-right thing, and we're building out in the barn expansion. We're building out a prayer room, and we try to decide which stall that we're leaving. We're keeping 4 stalls. Which one? And I said, oh, that's obvious. First one on the right, man. You know, Jesus is at the right hand of the throne of God, so of course it's the first one on the right. So yeah, I think that some of the commentaries say it shifted. I don't know how they would know that, but I'm gonna believe they put it on the right side. Thank you for sharing that today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daryl. All right, let's go to our friend Debbie in Georgia. Good morning, our Georgia Peach.
Ooh. Good morning, difference makers. Can you hear me?
We can.
Good morning, Georgia Peach.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thank you, Lynn. You're always so awesome. What a fabulous message. I know over the years, as talking about different ways to do the business and just making it one small tweak. As I mentioned, and you weren't on the call yesterday, but I'm a detailed person, and over the years, it's very hard for me to think simple. And our business is about keeping it simple. Keep it simple. But then you hear Sam say, "Well, we tell stories. We tell stories." Well, I love to tell stories. So
right.
it's just finding that happy medium of how short or how lengthy that story should be. But one thing that came to my mind as you were talking is that you can't put a square peg in a round hole, or vice versa. Unless the hole's big enough for that round peg. And the other thing was, there's a commercial that used to be around at a local bank. Maybe it's I don't know if it's regional or not, but they talk about how we carry that golden egg. We got the golden egg, and it's right. Like, well, so how are we going to carry that? You know, some people are going to carry it in a backpack. Some people are going to lug it around on their arms. So some are going to put it on their hips. So it's figuring out how are we carrying that golden egg to make that difference and to share that golden egg and let others know we have the golden egg. So thank you so much for your inspiration.
Oh, boy, you're always an inspiration to me. I can't wait to see you guys. And you're so right. It's just, we just can't be so rigid, stuck in our ways, not willing to change, And everybody's coming from a different place. If we're in the people business, we got to remember that about the people we recruit and the people that we're just, trying to bless with our technology. Got to remember that they're all unique, coming from a unique place. They're all individuals. And some of them will shine in a certain area, and some of them shouldn't be on the pitcher's mound at all. But that's not a valuable player, right? They'd just be doing better off at shortstop. And so thank you for that. I just love you guys. Can't wait to see you.
Excellent. All right, let's go to our last caller of the day, Miss Jenny. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning. Wait, let me get off.
Morning.
Good morning. I just want to say, Lynn, it's a goal of I think myself and so many other believers that we put into alignment our faith, our life, our business, and our mission. And you've done it so well, and you're such a great role model for all of us. And I just want to thank you for that. Girl, you're on a roll with these books. I can't wait to get your new one. This is unbelievable. The other two are outstanding. Did you say the name of the other two when you were on the call? I had the baby with me today, so I couldn't.
Probably not. I try. You know what? I try to be, little downplay this stuff a little bit because it's not about promoting stuff. But Walking on Water was the first one, and that's certainly a small testimonial of my life. I can't begin to tell you how overwhelming it's been since that simple little book went out there, and how many people have reached out to say, well, I've had trouble forgiving because that same thing happened to me. How can you help me? So thank you to God for that book with all of its little flaws, that it's touching lives. Walking on Water was the first one. And then Toilets, Taps, and Trash is one that you guys would help your business. I mean, I'm having people reach out to say, is there a bulk discount? Well, there's not, because you got to go through Amazon, but they're trying to, it talks about all the different water options we have. and it very gently brings in ionization. If you know anything about our industry, you know we're talking about magic, but I'm not trying to be a distributor in that book, right? It's just a very overview of water, so I think you'd like that one. And then, of course, this one is 12 Steps for Climbing Out of the Dark Place, and that's, when I went through my biggest trial, you guys have heard about that, and I didn't realize I was clinically depressed, but I was definitely I didn't think life was worth living, and I didn't have the energy to try. And so I think God is using that, to help people who know what that's like. It's not anything to be ashamed of. It's something that you can combat. Some people, of course, need medications. I'm not suggesting that, but, people didn't used to have medications. They used to just work through it. So anyway, thank you for that, Jenny. I love you to death, girl.
Oh, no, I love you too. And you know what? I have the first two, and I used your toilets, taps, and trash in demos, and it's just a perfect overview of this whole water mess before Magic came along. So thank you so much. And the last thing I just want to say is today's Jan Moore Boyer's birthday in Pennsylvania. I don't know if she's on the line, but we're just going to say happy birthday, Jan, when we hang up. Thank you so much for a great
That's
call
awesome.
today.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Very good. Man, thank you, Jenny. Wow, Lynn, again, you knocked it out of the ballpark, girl. I'm telling you, we absolutely love it. And I do want you to do a little commercial. Okay, so how do people get a hold of your stuff? Listen, here's the one thing. You are always, everything you do is so reasonable. I mean, you almost all but give it away free. And I absolutely love the heart of you in that respect. And so this is not boasting or anything else. I don't believe that at all. And so please give us a little commercial. How we get a hold of your books? How do we get these? And I do know that these are everyday life books. Guys, these are little things that you need in your tool chest, the tool chest of you. And so thank you, Miss Lynn. And how do we get a hold of these, please?
Okay, all the books are bought through Amazon. I don't touch any of them. They're publishing them. They're printing them. I don't have to mess with it. All I have to do is put stuff out there, and they go with it. Okay, so you need to go to Amazon. Guys, if there's some of you that say, oh, I don't know how to, do a Kindle book, you don't have to do a Kindle book, okay? You can do it digitally. You don't have to have a Kindle device if you want to do it that way. You can read it on your computer. So there's an option there for everybody. Don't say I can't get the books because I don't do Kindle, okay? That's all I'm saying. So go to Amazon. You can go search it. The best way is to search by my name, Lynn Gardner, and then whatever book you're looking for, Walking on Water. In fact, if you just want to type in one, that's an easy one to remember, and it'll show you all that I have out there. So, it's Walking on Water, Toilets, Taps, and Trash. By the way, I say this, because I am a businesswoman, and I kind of work the angles a little bit, and I just have to tell you guys this, that, if I were you, Toilets, Taps, and Trash made it to Amazon #1 seller, okay? So you can very easily take that simple little book and say to people, you don't have to say, this is one of us. You could say, have you read this? It's a #1 best-selling book. You need to learn about water. I would use me like there's no tomorrow if I were you. It is a great tool for your business, and so in fact, I'm hearing people say all they did was share the book. It's so short a read. It's like 60 pages. Only takes a little bit of time, right? And then go back in for the close. People are selling just on this book. So if I were you, I'd use me, okay? And that's not about money for me. It's a good business tip for you. So you find everything there. I've got a few other tools out there. If you like presentation kind of tools, then you can go to frontporchmarketing.biz. frontporchmarketing.biz. And thank you, Wade. I do try to be fair. The books for me is not about making money. I mean, I am trying to brand my business, and I'm doing well with that. But it's not about making money on books or tools or anything else. It's really about just doing what I do, and I'm so happy to hear that it blesses you.
That is awesome. And then one more question. Okay, we got an event. When's your event?
Oh, you bet. Now, that's one thing you won't have to ask me to open up about that thing, okay? Because that's it. That's for all of us. It's the Living Waters Farm event here at the farm. I'm so excited. It's October 11th through 13th. So just to let you know, we have a barn celebration. If you need to follow that, go to the website and look. But, we're celebrating on Thursday night, the 10th of October, because all the hearts that came out of Louisiana and every place else, people have come from all over the country and help with this Barnes. We're celebrating that. The real event starts on Friday, the 11th. And then we have training on the 12th, and then we have the optional church service, praise time, testimonies on the 13th. The website for that, everything, you ought to go look just for fun, right, is livingwatersfarmevent.com. And the Cherie Stevens and Earl and Lisa have all said they want to try to get a representative from every state. Wouldn't that be cool? Rest assured, we call it the leadership retreat, but I can tell you one thing, I don't think I do lightweight training. If you want me to just preach, I can do that, but I really don't think I do lightweight training, and none of the leaders here are going to be doing any lightweight training. It's really time to be in a beautiful environment, kind of relax a little bit, get away from the hustle and bustle. That part is the fluff, right? But you're going to get some serious training. So come for all of it, come for part of it, but I can tell you I have not met anybody out there, except one exception. One person wasn't a believer and they didn't like it, right? But everybody else that I've met says it changed my life. And so, guys, be here. Thank you for that, Wade.
Amen. That's a life-changing event. Thanks, Cherie, because she reminded me of that too. And of course, they are huge. Oh man, Lynn, thank you so much. You're awesome, guys. I just want here again. We're going to record this, guys. This should be out to everyone. Small tweaks make big differences. Thank you, Lynn. I'm going to open it up for everybody to thank Lynn for being here, and then Jan Moore Boyer, happy birthday, honey. And so, guys, I'm going to open it up for everybody to thank Lynn, and we'll see you all in the morning.
God bless you, Wade. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.